Welcome back, guys. For episode 3, I did record the entire episode and then I made a mistake. I did not have my threshold turned up to a certain degree, so my audio kind of got a little bit messed up. So what I did is I recorded a bunch of footage. It's about an hour and a half in total, and I kind of trimmed it down to just the important bits so we can kind of see what exactly is going on. I am doing a voiceover, so I will be talking about it as we kind of go through, just telling you what kind of happened. So I started off with a little bit of just kind of watching our factory run. And we went to our first part of our episode where we unlocked our part assembly. This is the first step into kind of unlocking the tier 2 that we talked about, all our coal and all that stuff. So I put all my stuff in there and I sent it off. I made sure to quickly click off of Ada. I might have trimmed it up a little bit, but I don't want to talk to her at all, so forget about that. From there, I moved into our reinforced iron plates. That's our first step to making our spark plating. I needed to kind of check out to see if I can get a better recipe. So I took the time out of my day to head over to that drop pod we saw earlier. I put in the modular frame and I took a hard drive back. In the background here, I've already put it into the MAM. I want to take some time and kind of waste, what I was doing until the 10 minutes is up to where we can get our actual recipe. I took some time, just kind of laid out some platforms for a little while. Then I took another break to go back to watch our machines run and kind of see everything that's going on. This is the intro clip that I used. However, I just kind of wanted to copy it over so I had something to talk over and not wasting time in the actual video talking about everything. So from there, after I wasted 10 minutes watching nothing go by, we got our 3 recipes. I did get a copper rotor recipe. It is using copper sheets instead of the iron rods are actually used for it. At the time, I was having a lot of restraints on my iron, so I didn't want to kind of go use our actual rotors. So I took that recipe. I did have 2 alloy recipes, but at the time I didn't have foundries, so they didn't have much of a use to me. So I skipped over those, and I took the time to actually make the space elevator. So I'm going to take a second, kind of not talk for a little bit, and just let you guys watch this awesome clip of the space elevator coming down. So go ahead. Okay, with our base elevator completed, I kind of moved into the next step of the journey, which is making sure we actually got the project parts to send out. It required making rotors as well as hardened plates. So I did kind of cut this out a little bit, but in the background here, I did make copper sheets. I was able to kind of use that and run everything together. And from there, I was able to get my 50 rotors. I only needed to put in our 50 reinforced plates, which I'd already gotten earlier. I combined them all together, and I got my 50 smart plating. And all I had to do from there was take it up space elevator, seal it, send it off, and watch the cutscene again. Of course, I made sure to click off of Ada as fast as possible so I didn't have to hear her speak. And there goes our space elevator. So after that, this is basically kind of where I ended the video. Everything you're going to see after this point is all the stuff I did after to kind of make this video just a little bit longer. So a lot of work needed to be done in the base. We were not very organized. There was nothing really kind of working out exactly how I wanted to. I wanted to have the opportunity to run more resources through our base with just the pure amount of iron nodes that I had. So I took the time to kind of run everything out of all of its resources and basically tear down our entire iron structure that we had. I took everything out. I was having a lot of ground clipping issues. I'm sure you guys have been bothered by it, however. So I took the time to kind of raise this up an extra 2 meters just to kind of have a lifted portion of the base so we can have a little bit of kind of lower and a higher, and we can kind of see different areas on the base as opposed to just a flat pad that we've been using. I took the time to lay out my miners, and from there I moved into making our smelters. I did have some trouble throughout the process of making this that I will explain. Um, as of right now, we do a Mark II line, so we're getting about a 120 out of each mining, or each miner that we have already. So I did set up 4 smelters, 30 apiece is to our 120. So that is using the maximum amount that we can get off the miner for right now. Later on, I'm going to run into issues once I can upgrade the lines to get better miners, but for right now, maximum that I can use, and I'm okay with setting it up like that. So I went through and I kind of set up. I had some trouble hooking up some lines, but I did my best. You can kind of see um, all the smelters working now, and here I'm just kind of making a little bit of a lift to kind of go over. I want to use this main area here as a kind of a walkway into our mining area, so you can kind of see everything that's going on. Um, I like the idea of making areas for people to walk through as opposed to just cramming as much stuff into possible. I made factories in the past that were kind of a bit too messy, just simply off the idea that I was trying to make everything as space efficient as possible. So I've really tried to kind of get away from that and just give people the opportunity to kind of walk through the factory and see what exactly is going on. Use the machines as a feature point as opposed to just being as efficient as possible. Once that was all kind of done, I laid out my constructors. Here you can see me starting to build the walls that'll actually separate the different rooms in our facility. The room that I'm currently standing in is where I have my hub, so I don't think I'm going to cover that for right now. But just to try to encase all the work and machines that I'm doing in this room, mainly just my focus. So I took out some walls. In this centerpiece here, I wanted to try to kind of add a window. I haven't unlocked the resource sink, however, so I didn't have anything. So I took these little half walls that we got in update 5 and just kind of did my best to make a little bit of a design. I don't think it's the coolest thing, but you know what? It's just a little bit of a different shape. It's slightly better than just a blank wall. Um, I think overall it looks decent enough, so I kind of left it there for now. Um, Here we can kind of see me just the stuff that we've had set up, kind of everything working in order now. This whole bottom layer producing 120 iron, like I said before, running into 4 different structures at 30 apiece, making all iron plates across. You are going to see me add a second layer here in a second. This is me kind of running around adding more to the window, trying to make it a little bit more of a design, a little bit less. I wanted to kind of do more of like a blinds type deal than it being connected like that, but it wouldn't snap quite how I wanted to. I did shut down the power lines or the power grid a lot during this. You will see that throughout. Once I kind of realized that I was running out of space, and like I said, I wanted to get away from that flat plain design that I've already been kind of doing, so I wanted to add a second layer. I had this cool idea of having sort of like a zigzag pattern at different alternating levels throughout it, and you'll kind of see that come to fruition as we go through. But since I'm putting on an extra level, I needed to lower the ceiling. The ceiling was already low enough, so I needed to kind of lower my belts. It was kind of clipping into it. So I dropped everything down and I replaced my poles. You can kind of see in the background there where everything's a bit more stable, and you can see the actual alley for people to walk through forming. Just me finishing up that second layer. I brought it all the way out. I made it 3 wide and kind of pushed it back. I didn't want to go too far back to kind of leave it all in kind of modular space instead of kind of really challenging it. This is where I really kind of started to make mistakes. At this point, I've been playing for quite a while, and I was a bit bummed out about the voice not recording. So what I did was I placed this smelter down. I had this cool idea of I had this little bit of area, and I wanted to try to fit 2 smelters in here to create kind of our next bit. So as I began kind of hooking everything up, I know that I needed to run 2 smelters here and 2 smelters somewhere else, and I did not have a lot of space to do it. So I kind of got into the complication of trying to place everything all together. It got very not working out. So I eventually came with this idea of running the entire line all the way around to the back of the miner just to kind of put everything together. And you can start to begin to see me struggle with this idea of trying to fit these smelters in here. I am using a lot of the clipping, something that was not possible in the earlier updates, but I can use it now. I'm clipping everything as much as possible, just putting forces in here. So I have nothing coming out of the walls and nothing out of place. Right angles, as clean as I can possibly make it, and as tight as I can possibly make it. You can see how absolutely little space there is to work there, but eventually after a long bit of work I was able to kind of get it into place. The only problem is I wound up running 2 separate lines up there. I needed a way to get up there, however, so I did start to take the time to make a ramp. Be doing that, just I have an easy access way to get up there as opposed to kind of constantly climbing the belts. This kind of goes in line with the whole places to walk area. I can parkour my way up there and finagle things, but it's just not really ideal. Not really how an actual factory would run. So I wanted something that's going to look good, be efficient, and kind of fit all the areas that I wanted to. So I took out this wall. I went up top and I was able to start placing my constructors. As soon as I did it, though, I killed the power grid and had to run back down there and fix it right away. After I finally fixed the power grid again, I took the time to try to line up these constructors. It did take me a second. I wanted them to be matching the same areas as they were below, so there was a little bit of symmetry kind of stacked over the top of each other. So I placed 4 more constructors down. The plan was to use these as iron rods, which I did not take into effect the conversion rate from iron rods to iron plates, because it was a slightly different number, and I just took the idea that, okay, well, I used 4 smelters down below 120 iron. If I do 4 constructors up here, it'll all work out. It'll all be this. They're not the same. It didn't work out. I wasted a ton of time trying to put everything together. So I'm just putting everything together. The problem that I was running into was I needed to fit 2 more smelters up here in my mind to get to the full 120. So I put both of these up here, and they were not necessary, and I spent a huge amount of time just sitting here trying to fix these in a formation that's going to work. You're going to see a lot of me struggling placing belts, trying to figure out exactly what I can do to allow people to walk through here. Eventually I came with the idea that if I just switch the 2 belts, so I originally had 2 belts, one for already smelted ore and one for the non-smelted ore, kind of running side by side to get up there. I thought that if I were to switch the 2, it would give me just enough clearance to create a right angle. So I took the time to go back here, strip everything down, put everything back into place again. I tried putting mergers, I tried doing all this stuff. It was a huge fiasco. Eventually, after a lot of kind of cramming and clipping, I was able to get it in there. However, the problem still became that even with all that, I couldn't get a right angle for the other side. So I was basically right back where I started, and I'd accomplished nothing. It became just such a mess. You can kind of see how it is right now. Completely just not worth it at all. It was about this point where I finally realized that what I was doing was completely pointless, that there's only 15 ore consumption on 1 constructor for iron rods, so I only need 60 to power all 4, which left me 60 more to work with, which I'll kind of get to later on. But I realized that I was trying to cram all this stuff into here for basically no reason at all, and I couldn't even use any of it. So destroyed all of that, and I went back to the basics. I hooked everything up how it's hooked up down below. There I just kind of tried to make sure that everything was working properly. I took the time to add a 3rd level across on the other side. This is where I'm talking about that stacker design, where there's different levels going on with different things. I do have 60 of the iron not being used off of that miner, so I needed to create another level. I just didn't want to stack it on top of me. Be insanely tall on one side and just so high on the other. I had another ramp to get up there, and I finished off the layer. From there, I just kind of made sure that everything was going to be flat. I didn't want to go too far in this miner. Kind of crossed out that my plan is to make like a glass dome around it. I can do that once I like more with the MAM. So I built that ram up there, and I kind of finished that off. I'm starting to get kind of towards the end of everything that I did. You can see where I have hooked the other line around. I'm going to actually bring this line up to the top here. That's where it's going to go. From there, it'll be smelted and turned back into iron rods, I'm assuming. Not sure what exactly I'm doing. Here, I just kind of finished off by adding an extra little decorative piece. I put some foundations there to kind of make like an actual boxed-in ramp as opposed to being able to see it. I thought it looked a bit bad how it was. I took these little half walls that I had. I wanted to kind of surround the buildings a little bit. There was a little bit of clipping going on, but overall I don't think it looked all that bad. I still have to figure out how to deal with that item lift there, and I will address that later on. I decided to take these conveyor poles and take them up to the top, just kind of look like they're pillars. I think they have pillar blocks, but for right now this is the only thing I had available to them. So I just kind of took them. I tried to turn this one on the corner. It looked wrong, so I just moved it over a half step and kind of put it back up to where it was. but overall everything kind of came together nicely. There's some little bit of bumps and bruises and things sticking out, but overall I think everything kind of came together good. I do have to rework the wiring a lot, but I just wanted to kind of take some time and show you guys everything that happened. You can see our 3 different levels that we have going on. There's technically 4. You have your lower left side and your higher right side, and we're gonna add a whole another layer of doing stuff. We still have to figure out our screw production, and probably a lot of that's going to be done up top. All that being said, though, thank you guys for tuning in for episode 3. I hope this wasn't too drastic of a change from kind of what we've been doing. It just, I had some recording issues. Wanted to still kind of show you guys all the progress that we made. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like and comment down below, and thank you guys for stopping by.
Hey guys, my name is Sky King. A couple months ago I bought a video editing software. I decided I was going to give this YouTube thing a try for a year and see what I can make happen. If nothing happens at the end of the year, then I know it's not worth it, so that is what it is. But that being said, for the next year I'm going to be trying to make videos. I feel like every video that I make I'm getting better and better at editing, setting things up. I'm working on a couple different projects that I can talk about. That being said, though, there's not a whole lot of following going on in this being a brand new channel. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe down below, whatever it is. I'm going to do my best to respond and get back to you guys. If you have any suggestions or anything like that, please, let's start something here.